Hey, this is Keith from Save the Rust. Today we're in the Brandon, Manitoba area visiting Brian, and he's going to show us some of his bikes. And it's an incredible collection of some really rare bikes. And he's a great guy. He's helped me out on my Norton 16H and my Norton Atlas. And let's go through some of these bikes, Brian.
Yeah, sure.
So, what do we have here?
This is a 56 BSA Spitfire scrambler. It's one of the original desert sleds. It's one, as far as I'm aware, one of only 256 made. It was restored about somewhere around 15 years ago and put into a private collection and never started. And I bought it from an estate sale, and of course we had to get it running. So it's running. Not sure what to do with it. It's an out-and-out race bike, no electrics, as you can see. It's just started, put it in gear, hold tight, and go.
And what size is this?
It's a 650 BSA A10 engine, a pre-unit 650. Similar to the Golden Flash, the Road Rocket, the Super Rocket, the Rocket Gold Star, and in fact this engine is very similar to a Rocket Gold Star. Very high compression.
It's a beautiful bike. I love the high pipes on it.
Yeah, this is how they came from the factory. It was designed back in the days of the, the racing in the desert racing. This was BSA's answers to the Triumph Bonnevilles. And being a BSA, of course, it was far superior than a Triumph, but that's a matter of opinion.
And is that original paint on there?
As far as I'm aware, yes.
Wow, that is just beautiful. I love the decal.
Yeah.
Must sound pretty good with those straight pipes.
Oh, it's crackly. You probably draw some unwelcome attention on the highway with that one. But it's a beautiful bike, but it's a single-purpose bike. So what do you do with it? You can use it on the road, but you wouldn't be very popular.
What's the, it's like the choke lever there.
That's the choke lever, yeah. And if you look, there's no footrest rubbers on these. That's how they come. They didn't have anything that could slip off, or when you were racing, these were just an out-and-out powerful race bike. Even things like the handlebars, you've got these purpose-built clips built into the handlebars themselves.
Yeah, I've
so
never seen that.
Trap a cable or pull a cable off or anything like that. It was just a bare bones, highly tuned 650. Very quick. I've ridden it around the yard here, and not to be recommended unless you're yeah, it's good. It's a nice bike, but not sure what to do with it, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very unusual, and just because of the unusual part of that, it's a discussion point. And it is all original.
Wow. Yeah. And the second bike here, what do we got?
That's a Royal Enfield Interceptor Mark II. It's a 750, 750 twin. Interestingly, it was new from Gateway in Winnipeg. This is one bike I've got. I've had it running. It runs great. I just haven't done anything with it as yet.
Interesting gas tank on there.
Yeah, if you don't want to actually go anywhere. I've never understood the reasoning behind putting small gas tanks on North American bikes, which was, the British interpretation of what a North American motorcycle should be. How you're supposed to go anywhere in North America with 1.5 gallons of gas, I'm not sure.
On a 750 bike.
On a 750 with twin carbs, yeah. You could drain that tank pretty darn quick. Yeah.
So the third bike, it looks like it's a Triumph Adventurer. That's a...
Yeah, it's a Triumph. They designated a TR5T. In North America, they were called the Adventurer. In England, they were called the Trophy. And it's a dual-purpose bike. It's an original bike. It was Triumph, just as they were sort of getting to the end of their original production. they were looking at ways to develop, and this was one of the ideas they had. It's actually a really nice bike. It's a 500 twin, which I believe is one of their best engines ever. And it's a go anywhere bike. It literally is. It's an off-road, on-road. You could ride it to for trails, scrambling, whatever, and then ride it home.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love the gas tank on there. That's
Yeah, it's all
such a
alloy.
beautiful tank.
Yeah. It's all alloy. It's a very light bike. It's a real fun bike to ride, this one.
Even the front hub is all aluminum.
Yeah, and the rear one, it's all,
Oh, wow.
yeah. It's a purpose-built bike. It's quite high ground clearance. Again, just metal foot pegs. No rubbers to come off or slide off or anything like that.
And that's oil in the frame?
Yes, this one's oil in frame.
And what year is this one?
That's a 74.
74, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this one's fully restored. It's a little bit dusty right now, but I used to do quite a bit of work in Alberta, and this was the bike I would put in the back of the truck when we went out there and do the logging trails.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's light, it's reliable, and it's easy to live with.
Beautiful, beautiful. So what's the last one here we got? That looks pretty interesting.
That's a 1938 Panther. Not too many of those around. This is as received. I haven't had that one running yet, but the intention is to rebuild it into working roadworthy condition, but I'm not intending to repaint it and restore it. I want to use it like it is.
Is that original paint?
That is, yes.
Wow.
They were very, like this in 1938, so you're just going into the wartime. Not a lot of money to spend on paint and stuff.
Yeah.
So this is basically what they were, bare bones. And to me, it's the epitome of a motorcycle. It's an engine, a gearbox, or transmission, and you just get on and ride. It's the type of bike that was used extensively in the UK as a go-to-work bike. Because a lot of families back in those days didn't have a car. So this was just the family transport. A lot of them would have sidecars. And I've even seen these back in the very early days where you have a double adult sidecar and then tow in a small camper.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the sloper motors.
Yeah, it's not very exciting. She'd probably start running out of steam about 45 mile an hour, but that's fine. That's
Yeah.
what they are. You know, you've got to remember that these were built for small roads back in the UK with a lot of twists and turns. They weren't built for freeways and the roads as we know them these days.
Yeah.
This one's for puttering around the back lanes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what do we got here? We got a bunch here, eh?
Yeah, this is one of my road bikes. That's a 650 BSA. As you can see, it's a 56 Road Rocket. This one's not 100% original. There's some bits and pieces that I've changed on it. I actually ride this one. This is one of my teenage years bikes. You know, you have these soft spot for bikes that you used to have. I'm not sure why, but this is one of them. It's still a lot of fun to ride. You know, it's a 50s bike. It's reliable. It's an easy starter. Still, you know, relatively quick. It'll cruise all day at 70 mile an hour. It'll top 100 mile an hour. It won't actually stop, but it will top 100 mile an hour if you've got nothing. If you've got a good half-mile stopping distance.
And that one's got a huge tank on it.
Yeah, the original tank is that blue one up there, but it's a small one. You know, and again, you know, my argument is, why in the world would you have a small tank when you need a big one?
So this tank on here, that would be more European?
Yeah, this is the original tanks you would have got with them as a British bike in Britain. Growing, that's the tank that, if I bought this bike back in the UK, that's a tank that would be on it.
And obviously, you're from
Yeah, Wales.
Wales.
Yeah.
And you came to Canada how many years ago now?
93, so 31 years.
Nice.
Yeah, I can almost speak the language now.
Eh?
Yeah.
And your background, you're
I'm an engineering. I worked at very large power plants. I trained as a mechanical engineer, building power plants, very large engines, turbines. We still own and operate an industrial machine shop, which helps with this. But basically, I'm trying to retire and play with these things.
yeah. What's the name of your shop?
Celtic Power and Machining.
Nice.
Yeah.
I also know that you do some old wheels, wagon wheel rebuilds that will.
Another hobby for that's in the other lifetime, which I do a lot of wooden wagon wheels. I build those. I started doing it as a hobby about 20 years ago, and it's grown. And now I build those in the winter, which feeds my motorcycle habit.
Yeah, I think we're all like we just like being busy. And so what do we got here?
That's a 58 Super Rocket. Not a whole lot of difference between these two bikes. They're both based on the same engine and transmission. Basically the same bike, just slight differences in them. The Road Rocket was slightly higher stated tune. The Super Rocket was probably aimed at teenagers in the Ace Cafe. That's what they were, that type of thing. They were quite a fast bike. Again, will top 100 mile an hour. And with the standard hub warmers that they call brakes, they don't stop very well. But even so, they go well. This one is as purchased, again from an estate sale. It's got an engine problem, not too serious. I've got to sort some threads out. And I will take the engine apart and rebuild it because I like doing that. I know where I start then.
Yeah.
But I plan to do that one this winter.
Nice.
And that will be on the road next year.
And then what we got here?
That's a 1969 BSA Lightning, which is actually the development of these two bikes. If you look, there's a lot of similarities in the engine, except that it's unit construction.
Okay.
Where these two are pre-unit, that's got the combined engine transmission. They're very similar engines, same output. This is what they call the Lightning, which has twin carbs, supposed to be the top end of the range. That's how I found it, that's how I bought it. That was the bike of my teenage years, so I have a soft spot for it, as I do with most BSAs.
So it sounds like you had quite a few bikes in your teenage years.
Well over 100.
Wow.
Yeah.
And some of your family members ride also.
Yeah, we all ride. My grandfather never had a car license. My father didn't until later in life. I have two brothers, and we've all ridden bikes all of our lives, all of our adult life. Never been without bikes. You know, so
That's awesome.
most obviously British bikes, because that's what I grew up with. Although I have lowered my standards occasionally and rode a Harley Davidson, but it's.
And what did you do with your last Harley?
I saw the light and traded it for a Triumph. Yeah.
So, and then what do we got here? We got
That's a 72 Triumph Trident, a T150V.
so that's a 3-cylinder.
3-cylinder 750. Bought as found in a garage. I have had that one running. It runs beautifully. It doesn't look like it right there. This one's been modified. It's got Makuni carbs on it instead of the Amels, and that's a huge improvement. They really do run nice with those. So I've had the tin work, the tanks and side panels repainted. So this one's due for a good cosmetic cleanup and get it ready for safety.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I know you have some more bikes, so let's go take a look at those.
Yeah. There's a few here.
So what else we got up here? So we got a mural here.
Sorry?
You have a mural that you painted?
Yeah, that's Eileen, my wife, is an artist. She's got her studio next door here. She does pottery and art. So this goes back to where I grew up. I grew up in what they called council housing estate back in Wales, which was the low end of it. And I found a picture of our typical Saturday morning, which was to service the bikes, because they always needed servicing every single Saturday.
And then you got, looks like you got some extra parts up here.
Yeah, that's mostly this bike here, or this frame here, is actually an Ariel Square 4, which I'm just in the process of rebuilding.
And what year is this?
That's a 58, it's a Mark II. And that's most of the parts for it. You can see the cylinders down there on the bottom shelf.
And that's a 4-cylinder,
Yeah.
square 4, which is,
Yeah.
this is a very interesting motor design. That's pretty much unique only to Ariel,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 2 crankshafts. You know, it's plumber's nightmare. But they actually run very well. I mean, people have different opinions about them, but they were built to serve a purpose. They were sidecar haulers.
Yeah.
And people would hang a big double adult on them, and it was family transport. That's what they were for. And they were never meant to be a high-powered road bike. They've got some weaknesses, but you can overcome them now.
Now, is that a low compression motor because of like how did they not overheat? It's always been my question.
The very early ones, they started. The very first ones were a 500cc, and then they went to a 600, which was a cast iron cylinder, and they were prone to overheating. And then they went to the alloy cylinders, like you can see there, and they ducted the air between the cylinders. You can't really see it there, but and you have no problems with overheating. I rode this one before I took it apart.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so this was a complete bike.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I just wanted to, and again, I'm not going to restore it original. I'm going to restore it as a rider's bike.
So you used to have a Road King, and this is what you traded it for?
Yeah, I rode Harley for 35 years. When I came to Canada, I actually brought a 71 shovel and traded that for a Fat Boy, and traded the Fat Boy for a Road King, which was a sort of half decent bike if you like that sort of thing. And I did a lot of miles. I did 64,000 kilometers on it. And then I grew up with BSA Triumph and happened to be in Winnipeg on an open day and took a nice new Triumph Bonneville for a run, and I was smitten. They got my Road King, and I got their new bike.
Perfect. So what do you got behind you?
That's my Ural. I like one of the big problems in moving from the UK to Canada is the winter. So it bugged me that you have 5 months where you basically don't ride motorcycles. And then it occurred to me that if you can ride a snowmobile at 60 miles an hour, I should be able to ride a motorcycle. So this is my winter bike. It's 2-wheel drive, it has reverse, and I don't say I ride it every day in the winter, but if it's a nice sunny day and it's just 15 below, yeah, I'll take it out and ride it and enjoy it.
And what year is this?
2014.
Oh, really? That new, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Bought it new.
Huh. So, because Ural, they've been around for 80 years?
Yeah, I mean, the basic story is after the Second World War, when Eastern Europe was subdivided, the BMW factory at the time ended up in Russian hands, and they carried on building the bikes. So these are a direct descendant of a 38 BMW.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And this has got the kickstart.
Yeah, it's pretty much, I mean, you can actually swap this engine for a BMW even today.
Really?
Yeah. There are differences, but it's based on that design. It's not very powerful. You can't go fast on it, but it's a specific bike for a specific purpose.
I always found that the kickers on these is just such a, coming from a North American guy, like, Harleys and stuff, you go square to the bike to kick it.
Yeah, oh yeah. And it runs, again, it's a bike that does not have a good reputation.
Yeah.
What I found, I worked on them quite a lot. I had my first Russian bike in '76, and I've had a number of them since. And I would equate them to a vintage British bike. If you're prepared to learn how they work and to understand them, do the maintenance, they're absolutely fine. This one, I think, it's coming up for 9,000 kilometers, and not a moment's bother with it.
Awesome. And what do you have here?
This is one of my fun bikes, a '69 BSA Rocket 3. I restored this one from pieces in boxes. I bought it just in pieces and rebuilt it over time. And I ride this one. It's a choice between this or the Triumph.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So many nice little details.
Yeah. This one is original, apart from I did put indicators on it. And at the time, this was when BSA was sort of fighting the influx of the Hondas, the big 750 Hondas and things. And this was their answer to it. It's basically a 500 Triumph engine with an extra cylinder. And it is fast. It does stop fairly well. It's got twin lead-in shoes on it, on the front. It handles beautifully. It's faster than a Honda. They were tested at 135 miles an hour.
Wow.
And it will do it. But again, it's a bike that you have to, understand, and every time you take it out, you've got to adjust the chain or something. It needs something doing, and that's just a British bike. That's how they are.
Yeah.
I know them. I'm happy with them. It doesn't bother me in the slightest.
It's just part of it, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's part of the whole deal.
Yeah.
I had it out 2 days ago. I went to Austin on it. I did 230 kilometer round trip. It sat on the Transcan 75 mile an hour all the way.
So 3-cylinder.
Yeah.
How many cc's is this?
750.
750. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, triple carburetors, so we take a little bit of setting up. Once they're set up, they're fine.
And it's got oil cooled?
It's got an oil cooler on it,
Yeah.
but it's an air-cooled engine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a standard, typical BSA.
The covers are just so unique, compared to all the other ones. And love the detail on the mufflers, how it's 2 mufflers, but they have 3 little...
They were the original, they were termed the ray guns, because they were in the 70s, and they had all sorts of spaceships and things.
Yeah.
And BSA paid an Italian company to style this bike. And it's one of those designs that you either like it or you hate it. And they did what they call the bread box tank, which was like a squared off tank. The ray gun mufflers, and lots of bits and pieces.
This is kind of like so you can lay down on it?
Well,
Or just not scratch it?
no, it's just like you don't scratch a tank when you slide over the handlebars when you hit something. But it's a beautiful bike. It's still a fun bike to ride. It's still perfectly capable of keeping up with modern traffic. And
Yeah.
it says 58 brake horsepower, which by today's standards is not that much, but it's still enough to get you up and going
Yeah.
pretty quick. I like them.
Oh, they're beautiful and unique. I mean, there's only a handful of them in Manitoba from what I know of.
Yeah, I just happen to have 2 of them. There's another one there.
Well, let's show us the second one.
This one's I'm just finishing off restoring this one, which is pretty much identical.
So if you have one, why not have 2, right?
Yeah, and then its sister, the Triumph Trident up there is the same motor,
Yeah.
but
So is there any differences?
no, these 2 are both 69s.
No, as far as the Triumph and the
Yeah,
BSA.
the Triumph has, where this one's got a sloping cylinder, the Triumph is upright.
Okay,
That was the difference between them.
that's it.
That's it.
So,
But all the parts are interchangeable.
wow.
Yeah. You can put a Triumph engine, the cylinders, everything fits. It's the same engine. It was just that little design difference.
What about chassis and all that?
There is differences in the frames, especially in the later ones built after 69. This was the first. They came out in 69. These are amongst the first bikes to come out.
So, I'm seeing a different, it's not a unit construction, or is
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It is, eh?
Yeah.
So, this
But,
cover,
here, what they have here, this actually has an automotive clutch.
Oh,
It's not
really?
like the standard BSAs with multi-plate clutches.
Yeah.
This is the same clutch as in an Austin Mini.
Huh.
The plate fits in here. You have to take, because at the time, 54 brake or 58 brake horsepower was well, it was actually more than the Mini car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it was considered extremely powerful, you know, for the time.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't. So they put these clutches in them. This part, what we normally consider the primary drive, is just a chain drive. There's no clutch in here. The clutch is back in here.
Huh. It must be interesting to see when it's all out.
It is, because there was a lot of innovative ideas, which is, it's the age-old story. If, BSA had survived and was able to carry on, I'm sure some of these things would have developed. But they didn't, and that's history. This is what we've got. But there's still, to my mind, it's still a pretty bike.
Very, very. Yeah. Love the color. Is that candy apple red?
No, it's BSA flamboyant red.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. So you do all your own motor work, and do you do paint also?
No, I do all of the mechanical work, everything. As I say, I own a machine shop, so I can do that, and I have my own lathes and things here. But the modern paints are basically dangerous to use, so I generally get somebody who's an expert at it. I've got a couple of people I do use, and they tend to do a good job.
Lots of nice little features on it.
Yeah, and this is pretty much how it came from the factory, this one.
So, what's this one here?
The Royal Enfield Flying Flea.
Yeah, this is
This was one of the parachute bikes that they would parachute out of gliders back in the wartime into Europe. So troops had transport, not designed to last very long, which was just as well because they didn't. And they're light, as you can see by the construction. That's pretty much the whole bike. And in working condition, you can pick it up.
Yeah, I've always been fascinated with this kind of little stuff from the war. The James ML, the Flying Fleas, things like that. It just
and everything else. Yeah, I mean, again, designed for a purpose, and they fulfilled that purpose. They did a very good job of that, and it's actually, I haven't ridden this one yet, but I've ridden similar bikes, and they're a lot of fun to ride.
Yeah. How many do you think were made?
I don't know, but I seem to think it was over 100,000, but a lot of them just got.
Because the James ML, I think they only made 8,000 of them.
Oh, a lot of these were made.
Really, eh?
Yeah. But a lot of them were just dropped into Europe and things and just forgotten about.
Yeah.
Yeah, they literally ride them, run them out of gas, and that was it.
Get another one.
Get another one, yeah, literally.
And this is a 98cc.
Yeah.
And this is a 3-speed.
Yeah, hand shift.
Hand shift.
Yeah.
Clutch is.
It's a standard clutch. It's on the lever on the handlebar.
Okay, so a hand clutch.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really cool.
But this one, I'm hoping to get it running quite soon. I've just loosely assembled it for now, just to check what I've got for it and what I haven't.
So we got a few more here. So Suzuki GS850G.
Yeah, this one, I saw it advertised one evening. It was in Brandon. A guy was moving out west and wanted it cleared out of his garden. It had been sitting in the garden for 10 years.
Oh, outside.
Outside, no covers, nothing.
Wow, it's actually a nice shape.
It was just the basic bike. There were no forks on it. He had everything, and he got as far as repainting the tin work, which he had stored. It was just the engine and frame outside. And I took it home and got a soft spot for him because that was my first ever brand new bike back in '83. There's one of these. And I picked it up, basically scrap value, and cleaned the carbs, went right through it. It started instantly and ran like it just came out of the factory. And then coincidentally, a friend of mine down south in the Killarney area had this sidecar sitting in his garage, and I ended up with it. So I just attached it to this bike, just make it into a fun bike, and it just so happened it was the same color. Yeah.
So what's the make on this?
This is a Veta.
It's a Vetter, eh? Yeah.
It's a Veta Terraplane.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this opens, right?
Yeah. It's yeah.
Like a coffin.
Yeah. You're not the first to make that analogy.
Well, that's what happens when you're a grave digger.
Yeah.
You kind of see coffins everywhere.
Just fixed it. I just have the seat recovered, and I know it just seemed to be a good idea at the time, you know, to waste some more time on.
Yeah.
But it's just about finished now. I had to make all the brackets for it, but that's all done. And I've taken it out once just to check the alignment, and it rides beautifully. So.
And it looks like that sidecar has been like really well made. Like it is
Oh,
overbuilt.
Yeah, well, you can see the size of the tubing in
The
it.
tubing, it's got a roll bar.
Yeah, it's got a disc brake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Oh, okay, I can see.
yeah.
So is that factory? How that
Yeah, that's as it came from the factory.
really, eh? So if you could almost decide if you want to hit the brake or not.
Yeah, and if you ride sidecar, which I do, I got 3 of them, then you can use the brakes to assist you in riding. You turn and go on the rest.
Yeah.
If you really want to get into it.
Yeah.
Or if you have to actually stop, you can press both at once. You know.
Huh. That's
And
interesting.
It's very effective. It works. And on this sort of size bike, it's relatively light, and it goes along beautifully. It's my home shop. I do a lot of woodwork. So if you look at it, one side is wood. Everything down here is to do with wood, which I like to do in the winter. I build a lot of furniture and stuff, tables, that sort of thing. I have my own machine tools here, which is just what I can do at home.
Yeah, that's a home lathe, right?
Yeah, well, just a little one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a little one. What size is that?
I think that's a 14 by 60. I think this one is.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's an industrial one rather than a knockoff sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we've still got the industrial machine shop if I need to do anything bigger than this. But I enjoy machining, and so I spend a lot of time on this thing.
And then you have over here, you showed me just earlier,
Yeah.
you got a forge.
Yeah, I like to do, as I mentioned, I'm old enough that we were taught basic blacksmithing in school back in Wales, and it stuck with me.
Yeah.
And what we do here, I don't do much on it in the summer, but in the winter time I have 7 grandchildren who like to come here, who like to forge up on a cold day, and we make things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I put the cowl on it so the smoke can be ducted out. So over at our workshop we have the laser cutters and things, so we just made a top for it. You know, the kids were into the fires of Mordor and this sort of thing. Oh, fine.
And so you got a whole bunch of woodworking equipment also.
Yeah, I do a lot of woodwork and
More equipment along the side here and
Yeah.
stuff.
this is mainly metalwork. You know, hacksaw, drills, small English wheel. I don't do a lot of body work, but and then here is sort of industrial size planers. My philosophy is a big machine can do a small job, but a small machine can't do a big job. So if you're going to do something, make it big. And this here is another hobby of mine is wheel writing. I make wooden wheels. And these are all the machine tools. Some of them are repurposed old machines. If you're making 100-year-old wheels, then I like to use 100-year-old machinists to do it. So this lathe is 110 years old.
And it's belt driven.
Yeah, it's belt driven, still belt. Although at the moment it's driven with an electric motor, but I do intend to convert it to engine drive.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this
Same
is
with the drill.
the drill's how old?
That's even older. That's I think about 120 years old.
And it's belt driven.
Belt driven, and again it will be driven from an overhead shaft. But in the meantime, I need to use it.
Yeah.
And these are items I've made: a metal bender, a dividing system to make wooden hubs down there. to cut the slots, and we have mortising machines. So
Just incredible. Just incredible.
yeah, so the idea is that you know, living in Canada is great, is one thing, but you need to be active, or at least I need to be active through winter. So I can come in here. This is heated, this building,
Yeah.
and I just carry on as normal.
Awesome.
Yeah. Whether it's restoring a bike, building wheels, you know, whatever you need to do, I can do it here.
Yep.
Yeah, don't get bored.
So that concludes our visit with Brian. I just want to thank him for giving us a tour. It's always great to visit. Such an interesting man. I love all the stuff you do, and the quality of your bikes is unbelievable.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
Thanks again.
Yeah, good.
And
Catch up with you sometime again.
yeah, for sure.
I'll visit you next time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So like and subscribe, and give us your comments and let us know what you think. Thanks again, and have a great day.